Well, my name is Jarrett Jacobs. I'm from Pell City, been here since 1991. My wife and I started dating my freshman year of college and went to school together at Auburn University. We both graduated. I drug her all around the country after we got married and found our way back here about 2 years after my son was born in 2009. And we've been here ever since. Graduated Pell City and very proud to call Pell City my hometown.
All right. Please describe the role of a local school board member as you understand it, and why are you the best person to fill this position?
Well, so I think it's pretty easy, right, to read off the roles and responsibilities. We can talk about budget oversight. We can talk about superintendent oversight. We can talk about all of the things that we'll experience as board members. But I think one of the main things that we need to focus on as board members is engaging in the community, engaging with the schools, and being present. You know, in the role that I've been in for the last 22 years, one of the things that was kind of tasked with me early on was going into operations that were struggling. And you know, I want to be real clear. I don't think the Pell City School Board or school system is broken by any means. But one of the things that I learned over that 22-year career was to go in and work with the people, talk to the people who were doing the work. And so I run a trucking company, part of a senior leadership team that operates 27 different operations across the United States. And we partner with mainly owner-operators. We run about 1,800 drivers. 90% of those are owner-operators. So these are independent business owners. These are guys that can make their own decisions. And so everything that we do is based off relationships. That seems to have worked well you know, throughout my career, and I think it's really important to understand the needs and some of the wants from the teachers, administrators, coaches, and principals. And you know, I think that the best way to do that is to develop those relationships and begin to kind of fine-tune what's needed throughout the school system. Kelly, as far as me being the best candidate, you know, I've read through 18 applications of the finalists. I think it would be probably a pretty bold statement to say that I was the best. But here's what you'll get with me. If I'm going to do this, I'm all in. I'm 100% in. You'll get the truth, even when that's not popular, and you'll never have to worry about an ego. I'm not too concerned with being the smartest person in the room. I usually like it when I'm not.
What are the most significant issues our school district is currently facing, and how would you propose the district address these challenges?
Well, so there's one that may not be quite the issue anymore, right? We announced the superintendent Saturday, and you know, I think immediately the first thing that we need to do as a community, city council, mayor's office, everyone needs to get behind Dr. Burns. I think that it's critically important that we are aligned on the issues, but most importantly, until we can see where the rubber meets the road, to really understand his position, his vision for Pell City school systems, we need to champion him. You know, I know there's been some opinions about whether or not the current school board should appoint a superintendent, and I absolutely understand the opinions and respect the opinions of the people on both sides of it, but we're here now. And frankly, I don't know Dr. Burns, never talked to him. But everything that I've heard has been 100% positive. And that's including Facebook comments, which is not the
The Alabama State Department of Education scored Pell City schools an 80 in 2022, an 81 in 2023, and an 83 in 2024. What are your thoughts on this trend and the trajectory of the school system overall?
Well, hey, progress is great, right? We're glad that number's not inverted. We want to see progress each and every year. I think what's important, though, is understanding how we compare to other schools and other communities not only in the county, but in some of the surrounding areas. So, you know, the Alabama School Board offers a lot of very transparent information. And it's pretty clear to see how we compare, how we stack up against Leeds and Moody and Lincoln, other St. Clair County schools. And so while I think progress is great, right, you always want to see that score going up, we need to think about what we need to do to be excellent. And, you know, I think most people have at some point in their life, they've experienced excellence. And that is the feeling that every kid in the school system deserves. And so, you know, I think we need to set the bar high, and we need to set goals that we can absolutely attain each and every year. But excellence should be the mark, not a low B average.
All right. Does anybody from the committee have any follow-up questions for Mr. Jacobs?
How did you, am I okay?
Yes, sir.
I noticed on your, you talked baseball, you was a baseball coach for Victory Christian.
For 2 years, yeah.
Yeah. How did you get involved in that, and how, you know, what's the dynamic between a private school and a public school?
Rusty may have gotten into it by default. My son went to Victory while I coached there. I was asked by Stan Sargent, the head coach at the time, just said that, hey, look, I need some help. First year I coached JV. Probably one of the most rewarding experiences I've ever had. I loved every second of it. You know, we practiced 5 and 6 days a week, you know, usually for a couple hours at a time. You know, I was the first guy at the field. I enjoyed every second of it. You know, one of the things I think that stood out, the second year, I was helping Stan with the varsity team. We had a young guy that was a senior. I knew him a little bit. He was, of course, a varsity player the year before, so I didn't get to coach him a whole lot one-on-one. But I wasn't real sure about him. The first day of spring practice or fall practice, he wasn't there, and so I started asking around, hey, where's our catcher? And I was told that he wasn't playing, so I went up there the next day to school and made an effort to find him. Couldn't find him anywhere. I was going to do my best to talk him into playing. One, because we needed him, but he was also a senior, right? That afternoon I get to practice and he's there. He's taking warm up as I walk onto the field, and you know, got to talk to him. Developed probably the best relationship with a player that I've had in a long time. And he was one of those kids, you know, kind of had a chip on his shoulder. But man, we got to know each other really well, stay in contact with him now. He's a great kid. But I think that's where you can really make a difference. As far as the dynamics between private school and public school, you know, I'm not going to sit here and tell you I know the ins and outs of how the operations work, but you know, from my experience, I think there's goods and bads, right? You know, from a funding perspective, there's no comparison. From a small classroom perspective, there's huge comparison. You know, and the involvement that parents have in that private school setting, there's a lot more requests than there are than what we see today.
Rusty, I hope that is primarily in public school versus private school.
Yeah, absolutely. So, yeah, we moved Cole the year after COVID. So we went there in 21, started in 21. He's back in Pell City now. I'd love to talk about that. Both my girls, they're well, at the time, in elementary school, we kept them in public school. So we're not, you know, not looking for a change. Weren't really looking for a change at the time. It was just the best fit for him.
Thank you.
Anybody else have any follow-up questions on those first 3 questions? How important is long-term strategic planning for a school system? In what key areas should Pell City schools prioritize such a plan?
Well, you know, I mean, for one, strategic planning is absolutely critical, right? You know, like I said before, the Alabama Department of Education website is pretty informative. One thing that I picked up on Pell City and all of the data, the latest data that I could get was 23-24 school year. During that school year, we had 257 seniors, and in the 10th grade, we had 338. And as you go down, you look at every elementary school grade, that number stays right at that 330, 340 mark. And so it's great to see the city growing, right? And we've seen a lot over the past 4 or 5 years, and I think we'll continue to see that. People are flocking to Pell City. But with that comes more kids. And, we've got to absolutely prepare to accommodate more children. And, from what my understanding, I think that there is probably a space issue right now. I think it's got to be addressed now.
What is your perception of our school district's current working and learning environment? And do you have ideas on how to ensure and maintain a positive environment?
Yeah, so I think this is one of those questions I feel like, we could speak about in generalities, and I'm going to try not to do that. So my experience is with 3 kids. I can say with a lot of confidence that each time one of my children has finished a grade, I believe they're prepared to go to the next grade. Are there things that I wish we could see differently in the curriculum? Absolutely. But I think what we're trying to do in a school system, right, is prepare kids for the future. One of the things that I'm most excited about, and have not had knowledge of this for very long, but our vocational programs I think are outstanding. And I think that there is a tremendous market for kids coming out of high school to go into those vocations. I'm not sure how popular or how many people are aware of the Craft Academy. I've got one starting that in August, and I couldn't be more excited about it. AP has been on the forefront for a long time. How great is it that a kid can come out nearly with his associate's degree at 18 years or 17 years old? Yeah, I think as far as class offerings and potential career options, I think we're on the right track. As far as specific curriculum, I can speak to 3 specific experiences.
What steps would you take to establish and maintain trust in the board?
Well, I think honestly the most important thing that we can do as a board is to communicate, right? I think there should be one point of communication. That should be from an official school board, either social media account, minutes. I know there's a lot of information that are available after school board meetings. But I think the most important thing is to make sure that the school board is aligned with their message. And, I don't think there's room for individual opinions speaking on behalf of the board. It's just not healthy, and going back to supporting Dr. Burns and being aligned and championing him, that's how we do it. We stay aligned as a board, we stay aligned as a school system, and do our best to have one succinct message that is coming from the collective board.
Okay, I know we do have 1 minute, and I think Jeff Jones had a question.
I don't know if you can answer it in a minute, but you said something earlier that really struck me. You used the word excellence. You used it 3 times, I think. That's something I previously used the same word when I was on the school board, and I didn't do a very good job of trying to implement that. How would you implement excellence within our school system?
Well, I think the first thing that we have to do, if I've got a minute, we'll try to talk quick here. Jeff, I think the best thing that we can do is understand, one, the superintendent's vision for the school, right? And then we've got to think outside of the norm. There's been a lot of discussions that I've had over the past couple of weeks specifically about Pell City being Pell City, right? And we've got to raise the standard for those kids. Now, does that mean that we've got to raise the expectations in terms of attendance? I think so. I think getting students or parents engaged and participating with their kids, I think is absolutely critical in maintaining success and achieving that level of excellence.
Thank you so much, Mr. Jenkins. We appreciate your time.
Thank you.